Let's face it, the reason you're probably taking this class is because you have to, because San Diego State University says you have to take so many GE courses and History 109 is one of them. So you can take this class and you can learn a lot of content material. You can learn about Abraham Lincoln and George Washington and Iroquois Native Americans and all things that happened 150 years ago to 600 years ago. And you could ask a very good question. How does any of this help me live in 2018 and beyond? How does this help me get a job? How does this help me live my life? And the honest answer to that is, I have no idea. I have no idea how the content of this class, what George Washington said or didn't say, could help you. Not at all. I do firmly believe that the skills you can develop and practice in this class will help you in your life. And I'm going to take us through a few ways, the skills you can hone here that will benefit you. So first, thinking historically. All of you walk through your lives presenting your history and hearing histories all over the place. When you go and apply for a job, you have a resume. That resume is your history, your business history, your professional history, your educational history, whatever history you think is apropos, boiled down to a paragraph or a couple sentences. If you go out on a date, you interact with histories. You hear about the person's past, their previous relationship, why they love their dog Kitten, and why their dog is named Kitten, all this crazy stuff. And you have a medical history. If you go to the doctor and the doctor's like, your knee looks weird, and you're like, oh yeah, that's because I tore my ACL when I played soccer in high school. Like, yeah, that's why it looks like I have a scar on my knee. Your medical history is important. Legal history might be really important. If you're a nurse or a doctor, and a family comes in and there's a young boy with a broken arm, did he break that arm falling out of a treehouse, or did one of his parents break the arm while throwing him up against the wall? That history, which is right, which is wrong, has a legal implication for you and for that family. Or if you're about to go on a first date and you don't know if your date is allergic to roses or not, you don't know that person's history, or maybe their last boyfriend or girlfriend gave them roses all the time and they hate that boyfriend or girlfriend, and you show up like this dude with roses and she's like, well, you didn't think historically. You didn't think that, maybe there's information from the past I didn't know about. So as you walk around in your lives, you're constantly doing this. You're presenting your own history, you're getting history from others around you, and what this class does is gives you skills for best practices, how to go through life using historical thoughtfulness best to your advantage. So what do? One of the things historians do is we locate data. We locate information. For historians, that data is called primary sources. Okay, so for us, the data are primary sources. Data, you get data all over the place in your life. Maybe you collect data, you're an investment broker. You want to go find data about companies, right? You don't just Google that company. You go and locate data on them from different locations. Maybe you're into marketing, right? You're going to get data for whoever you're trying to sell a product to. So in this class, we look to primary sources. Primary sources are sources from the time period that tell us about the time period. One example of primary sources would be that you're going to kind of look through are explorers' letters from early America. And so this is a website that has early America's an archive of primary sources. And in this archive, there are going to be documents. Here's one by Israel somebody other, Acrylius, the founding of New Sweden. So if you click on that, it's the document, the founding of New Sweden, and it talks about how Sweden created its first colony in the Americas. And you go on and on and on. You can read this. It's a primary source. It's from the time period. Tell us about the time period. You can analyze it. And it kind of tells you, gives you a full sense of where it's from. And this particular website, Early America's Digital Archive, has literally dozens of these collected for you, brought together for you. So the point here is that you're going to go to websites like that where you're going to know there are primary sources, and you're going to find the best information for you. So for instance, if you want to invest in energies, you're going to study ExxonMobil. You're not going to go look at information on Target, for instance. So you locate the data. Next, we're going to practice analyzing data, analyzing information. And again, you're constantly doing this. If you go on a date and the person's telling you all about the music that they love, you might come to the assessment that, oh, they really like music. Music's really important to them. And if you hate music, maybe this isn't the best fit for you. So when we analyze data, we think about who produced it. What is it about? Where does it come from? And when does it come from? And the when is so important for historians because of context, context, context. Con just means with. Text is the data. So what's surrounding? What's going on? If you were to hear someone say, you know, I hate South America, you're like, wow, what a racist, right? Or why would a person hate South Africa? And then if you pull back and you see there's a man holding a gun to that person's head, and there's a poster that says, if you don't say you hate South America, we'll shoot you. Well, do you believe that that person hates South America or not? Or does the context, the surrounding suggest, oh, they're probably saying this so they don't get straight up shot, right? Audience matters to context. You're back on that date and the person's all talking about music, the man or the woman, and you don't care about music, but you really like them? Oh, I love music too. Right? Who you're talking to matters. And then the material, how the data is conveyed. So let's say, like I say on that date, oh, I love music, and all the while I'm texting to a friend, oh my God, I like this person so much. They're so into music, but ... smiley face, winky face. Okay, well that's a text message. We would analyze that text message differently. What does the smiley face, what does the winky face mean versus what's said then on the date? Connections or links or allusions. These are kind of like the offhand mentions that are made where you have to be an insider. You have to understand the culture to get what the allusion is. So if I were to mention something like, do you want to take the red pill or the blue pill? That only makes sense after the film The Matrix comes out. Before The Matrix, there was no like red pill, blue pill, whatever. Probably for most people before the summer of 2018, Thanos is only a name that's important to folks who like magazines. What are the magazines for kids called? I'm totally lost now. You know what I'm talking about. The Marvel Universe, Infinity Wars, comic books. Yes, comic books. That only if you knew comic books would Thanos be meaningful. But in the summer of 2018, when the Avengers film features Thanos, spoiler alert, killing half of the sentient beings in the world, all of a sudden that name matters. So if after that someone's like, oh, you're such a Thanos, means like, oh, I don't know, maybe you want to kill everyone, something like that. What's not said? What's left unsaid in a document or in interaction? You have a resume. You're looking at a resume and it shows no job for a 4-year period. There's jobs here, and then there's 4 years, nothing, and then job. Might you want to know what happened during that time period? Oh, that's when I was in prison. Maybe I don't want to hire you. That's when I had my first baby and I was staying at home with her or him, right? That what's missing might be important. So when we analyze data, I want to take you to a document from a guy named Joseph Brant. So Joseph Brant's document is a primary source in your required readings. It's in Cobb's Bloom Major Problems, which is largely a book of primary sources and some secondary sources. And Joseph Brant was a Native American during the time of the American Revolution. So during the American Revolution, and here I am at Cobb's Bloom Major Problems, I'm going to go up to the unit view. I'm going to go to Unit 2. I'm going to go to Chapter 4, American Revolution, the primary sources. And here I have Joseph Brant, a Mohawk Indian, who is in Britain speaking with representatives of the King of Britain, and he's basically saying, we're on your side. We're on the side of the British. We are against the colonists like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson who want their freedom. And so here's the document. So he's speaking to a British political leader. Brother, father, brother, brother, brother. So he keeps using this language of family, familial, brethren, okay, brother, brethren, father. And it goes on, basically saying that we give our loyalty, that we're loyal with each other, and can't we support and protect each other. So the very end of the letter says, we want to go back home so we can tell the other Indians to support you, the King of England, giving satisfaction to all our nations when we report to them on our return, for which purpose we hope soon to be accommodated with a passage. Wait, what? For which purpose we hope soon to be accommodated with a passage. So they're in Britain. Britain is across the Atlantic Ocean from the United States. They can't get home. They don't have a ship home. They don't have money to get home. These guys are here in Britain, and they're meeting with British political officials, and they want to get back to America, to their families, to their tribes, to their people. Do you think in this document they're going to say, oh yeah, by the way, we think you're horrible, King, and we hate all of you, we hate all the colonists too, and we hope you all go to hell? Oh, and can we have a ride home? No, this is part of the analysis of like, wait a second, they're trapped there, they're stuck there, they don't have a way home. What are they going to say? Oh, brother, 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 friend, friend, friend. Of course they're going to say that. That's going to affect how we analyze the document. And so in Joseph Brant's case, when we analyze the end of that he's stuck in Britain, when we think about the where and the who is speaking and the context, his inability to get home is going to help us analyze, factor in, how do we make sense of this data? Okay, then we're going to present data. So we're going to locate data, we're going to find it, we're going to analyze it for meaning, and then we're going to present it. And you do that. You present data of yourself all the time. When you go to a job interview, you dress one way. When you go out on Friday night, you dress a different way. When you're watching your niece's kids on a Saturday morning, you dress a different way. You're presenting yourself in ways that fit. Here's a resume, someone's history, where, oh look, they worked in telecommunications from 2009 to 2012. They were a graphic designer 2004 to 2009. And they were a marijuana dealer and nefarious dude 1999 to 2004. Do you have any wonder why this resume fit on a Google search for worst resumes ever? Because that's data presented in a way that isn't helpful, that is probably not going to get you a job. And it's one thing, okay, the marijuana dealer, this time marijuana is probably illegal for this person to do, but nefarious dude, like bad dude, I'm not sure how it's going to help you get the job that you're looking for. So how do you present data about yourself? How do you present data when it comes to a resume, when it comes to a business plan, when it comes to a marketing agenda? Whether it's how do you present data, if you're a nurse or a doctor, to a patient. We call it kind of bedside manner, maybe, but how do you present information there? How to and how not to. And so in history, we think about What are the best ways to present data? Is a graph the best way? Are words the best way? Are bullet points the best way? So you're going to be doing that in this class. Sometimes you're going to write in sentences and paragraphs. Sometimes you're going to create graphs. Sometimes you're going to create images. You're going to do a tour guide, a historical tour guide, because there's lots of different ways of marketing data, of presenting it. And finally, you're going to evaluate presentations here. You're going to evaluate yourself and others. Reflection and deliberation are two skills that are really, really helpful, especially as the world moves faster and faster. How many of you have written an email, boom, 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 written it, sent it off, and then the next day you're like, oh my God, oh, I forgot to mention this, or there's all these typos. Or you submit your resume or your application, and you're like, oh, I totally forgot that I had this or that. And so to reflect, to take some time, and to look at what you've presented, what you've created. Take a step back from your resume and look at it. Take a step back from the business plan and think about it. So to reflect and deliberate. And then finally, how to provide useful and helpful feedback to people. And you're going to provide feedback all over the place in your life. If you go to a grocery store and yell at the cashier, you're offering feedback, not nice feedback. But another way to provide feedback is to offer constructive criticism. You're going to do this in your job. If you become a manager, you're going to be evaluating people. Hey, in this class, I evaluate you. At the university here, I'm evaluated by the dean and the provost above me. And so what type of evaluation would you like? Would you like, oh my God, you are so stupid, you're going to fail this class? Or, I really appreciate your effort. In order to improve for the next piece, doing A, B, and C, or focusing on X, Y, and Z will help you go from a C- to a B+. I know which I would prefer. And so those are some of the skills you're going to get in this class. You're going to evaluate, you're going to present data, you're going to analyze data, you're going to locate data, all while we think historically.